This is Frequently Answered Friday, in a session whereby questions come through to me from agents in the week about their business or a challenge that they've actually had. Now, what I do in these particular sessions is I take those questions and I will then go and answer them. Now, a big question that came through to me, and it's a question that I've had a few times from many, many people. And the question is basically going like this: Stuart, I've had the soul mandate now for about a month. I've been working on that particular soul mandate, had a few buyer interests and leads coming into the actual property. So I have had a few clients viewing the property, but I've not had any offers as yet. Now that I'm about a month into this particular mandate, and my mandate is actually for 3 or 4 months, whichever it may be, I've still got that 2 months left of the mandate. The seller has now come to me and said, "Hey, I would like to invite more agents to work on my property. Stuart, what do? I have a sole and exclusive mandate, which only allows me to work on the property, but my seller is now insisting that they have this property shared with other agents." Now, I've had this conversation with quite a few agents, and I'm sure that you may have experienced this as well. So the first thing that comes in with an agent that, and I put into the category that's inexperienced, the first thing they do is they go, "Well, I haven't actually sold it. I haven't done anything as far as getting an offer." And the agent falls into the trap of openly saying, "Well, of course we can do that. Let's convert it from a sole mandate to an open mandate." Now, I want to stop you right there. If you've ever had that particular thought, I want you to remove it. That is disastrous. You've already created the awareness of the property. Now, all that's happening is a new agent that's going to work on that property in an open mandate is a very high chance that they are going to bring through a buyer that will put through an offer. Why? You've created this interest. Buyers have seen the property, but that particular agent may have a better relationship, or alternatively, it just happens to be at that particular time that it connects with the outside agent. So, first thing, if your seller is wanting to bring on additional agents, do not fall into the trap of saying, "Well, it's converted to an open mandate." We need to hold it as that sole mandate. And I'm going to give you some great pointers to help you with that. So, the first one, do not just fall into the trap of allowing that sole mandate to be converted to a open mandate. It's basically you're giving away a property. The second that has come across my table is, "Well, Stuart, I'm working on this. I'd like to work with another agent." And then they opt and they have this idea of doing a dual mandate, having two agencies now coming into the actual property. Now, that can work in many situations. However, if you have not done that dual mandate correctly, it could be something where you've spent all the first 30 days doing all the marketing and really promoting that particular property. And the second agent that's taken the dual mandate brings in a buyer. And what you've actually done is when you've taken the dual mandate, you've said, "Well, let me be greedy. Whoever brings the buyer gets 100% of the commission." And all that happens is you take in that particular dual mandate with the outside agency, they bring in a buyer, and you get nothing. So you've got to be very cautious if you're looking at a dual mandate. The first thing that you need to do is, if you're going to be considering a dual mandate, you need to consider that you've already done work, which means even if they bring through a buyer, it is a 50% share of the commission, which also means if they actually do a complete deal, you still get your share of the commission. Remember, you have already done 30 days of work and marketing on that particular property. You need to make sure that you get some form of remuneration as far as your professional fee coming back to you. So if you're going to be looking at dual mandates, make sure that you insist that it becomes a 50-50 share on all of that. Yes, there is a bit of a snag to it that if you do bring a buyer in, that means that you've got to give away 50% of your commission to the other agent, but you're trying to secure yourself some of your commission. Now, again, I wouldn't recommend going with that dual mandate either, because you can actually be stumped and lose 50% of your commission if you bring in the buyer yourself. So, the third option, and this is the option that I want each and every one of you to actually consider. So, let's replay this whole scenario. You've had the sole and exclusive mandate. When you signed it, it was for 3 months. You've been working on it for a month. And in that month, you've done everything that you can possibly do. You've done the professional photos, you've brought through a few buyers, you've got some leads, you haven't closed an offer. Your seller has said, hey, I want more representation on this property. I want to open this out to more agents. So the third option is the option that I want you to consider. And really, the reason why I want you to consider this is you are a professional. And if you take the mindset that you are a professional and this is your business, you're actually the one to take control of these situations. So, what do I mean by taking control of the situation? Well, you are going to be the mediator. What you're going to say back to your seller is no problem. What I will do is, I, as the agent, the one that has the sole and exclusive mandate, I'm going to make contact with all of the agents out there. Now, your seller might say, hey, I would like Pete from this particular real estate company. You say, no problem. Give me his details. I'll make call with him. And I will actually say, come through to the property. You can view the property. But what you must remember, you're still holding that sole mandate. What you're allowing is you are now giving permission for that particular agent to bring buyers, not to market, but to bring buyers into that particular property. And they can basically bring offers, which means it becomes a 50-50 share. So it works almost like a dual mandate. However, you've got full control. And if you bring in a buyer, you get your full professional fee. So, step number one, you actually have that discussion with your seller. You say to Mr. Seller, thank you very much. What I'm going to do, I'm actually now going to take my business to the next level. I'm going to speak to all of those agencies out there, and I'm going to do something that's very unique. Now, this happens, by the way, it's not actually that unique. It happens all the time. I'm going to create an open hour. This is going to be an hour where I will invite all of these outside agents to come and view the property, have a look at the property, and then find out if they've got any buyers. Now, why is that such an important step to take? Well, the important step is when you set up this open hour, and you might have 3 agents that come through, you might have 50 agents that come through. Your seller is going to see, hey, I can see so many more agents are now looking at my property, and that representation has now been extended to multiple agencies. But there's a few little pointers that needs to be taken into consideration here. When you're setting up this open hour, you invite all these agents through, and you take one step further. Get a little piece of paper and say to them, hey, can you write down your name, agency, your contact details, and what you see as the value of this particular property? Now, that little piece of paper is going to give you so much information. One, it's going to give you this credibility of all these different agents and agencies that have come into your property, that you can now say to your seller, well, we had an open hour and we had 23 agencies come through the property. I can tell you now, your seller is going to be satisfied. They've seen that representation of all these different agents coming through. The second is with each agent giving their professional valuation of what they see the property is worth on a piece of paper. You can take all those amounts, you can put them into a spreadsheet, give an average, and go back to your seller and say, right, we had 23 agencies that came through the property. But what I also did is I wanted to find out from them what they see as the value. And here is the actual results. And that gives an average. Now, that can also work in your favor when you're working with price counseling. Maybe it's a little high, and using that and saying, well, we've just had 23 agencies come through. Here's the average. And we can start working on price counseling. So it actually has a step up level that assists you. Now, this is a very, very strong way of going through to your sellers. They want multiple agencies. Well, now you do this representation of doing these open hours. The property still remains on a marketing platform with all the portals under your name. Now, if you want, you can give a sub, and I'm putting inverted commas, a sub mandate. So if you've got a specific agency that really their marketing fashion when it goes to portals is at next level, something that you are aspiring to achieve in your particular business, what you can actually do is you can say to that particular agency, I'm actually going to give you the authority to market that particular property under my mandate. Now, just make sure that you get permission from the actual principals of the agency to make sure that they do give you the rights to actually do that. But then there is a condition, and you must make sure that this is put in writing. Every appointment that is made through you. Every negotiation and discussion that is made through you. That particular agency is not allowed to contact your seller directly. They're not allowed to have any direct contact. If they do, you will have their marketing removed from all of the portals, and that will go against the actual agreement that we have in place. So you've got to make sure that you do have things that are put in place that will allow you to be in control. Now, don't try and do this particular activity if you've only got 2 or 3 weeks left of your mandate, because ultimately what's going to happen, they're going to whip that mandate away from you so quickly. Once you've done this, you've done an open hour, you've had these agents come through the property, you've now presented everything through to your seller. Your seller's feeling satisfied. This is the final little tick box that I always suggest. You now sit with your seller and you say, right, I've actually now invited 23 agencies through to the property. They've seen it. They're now working with their particular buyers. I will follow up with them because you've got all their contact details and I will give you feedback. What I would like to do, Mr. Sellers, because now we have extended this to all these agencies, I would like to extend the mandate and you extend it for a minimum of 3 months so that you still have 3 months on that particular mandate working with everything, with all those particular agencies. This is the final little piece that helps to secure that particular property in your control. And it's something that you have to do when you're presenting all of the stats and the data that has come through from that open hour. You then extend it. And that becomes such an important factor for the discussions that go forward. Why? Well, now you've secured that particular property for the next 3 months, or 4 months, or 6 months. Plus, you've actually extended it to multiple different agencies. You've actually created almost a multi listing type of situation with all of these particular agencies under the control that every single agency must make contact with yourself. And that's the benefit that you can actually sell to your seller, is your seller doesn't have to deal with everybody. When it comes to appointments, it's dealt through you. When it comes to negotiations and viewings, it's dealt through you. So they don't have to have 20, 30 people phoning them, trying to make appointments, trying to negotiate on commissions and prices. You become that controlling element. And that is being a professional, which is so important when you're going forward. Now, the final part of this is, how do we get so many agents into that particular property for an open hour when they know that this property is already under sole mandates? Well, this is where you create these open hours into an event. Have an event where you can actually say, I'd like to invite you to this property. You can get some attorneys or third party vendors that can actually sponsor this particular event with some light snacks, light non alcohol drink if it's during the day. And you create as an event and say, look, I'm inviting you through to the property. Why don't you come through, get yourself a snack, something to drink? You can actually enjoy just viewing this particular property and you invite them in. So we all know real estate agents, they love food. So if you have that particular event, invite those particular agents, get some third party support or sponsorship that can actually have some food and drink available to them. They will actually come through, they will enjoy, they will mingle with you, they will network with you, they'll view the property. You just ask them, the only condition is you just got to put your name, the agency, some contact details, as well as what you see this property is worth. And that's going to give you enough information to share with your sellers, give you follow up numbers with those particular agents to see if they've got buyers. You'll start growing a network. And what I'm going to say is you're going to see that their property will start to sell a lot quicker. So, from a original, hey, Stuart, I've got a sole mandate and my seller is wanting me to have more agencies on it, what you're actually doing is you're actually creating a new tool in your toolbox where you can actually then start to invite outside agents, and you will actually find that you're going to start selling properties a lot quicker. When you've got maybe 20, 30 agents all looking for buyers, knowing that they will secure 50% of that commission, you're going to find that you're going to have that sale no problem within a short span of time. So, this is the actual frequently answered Friday. The question that came through to me in the week, Stuart, have the sole mandate. I've had it for a month. I've still got 2 months left. My seller wants me to open it up to more agencies. Take the approach of being in control of that property, open it out, bring in these outside agencies and agents, view the property with an open hour, and watch the results that will happen from there.